Andy, I'm here to tell you, like, we're on fire. Like, before it was just Mama Jabbour listening. Now we've got real listeners out there. Like, it's good. I mean, like, I mean, we're hitting our stride. Yeah, we're coming up on our year anniversary, Andy.
I know, I know. It's exciting, Dave. It's exciting, and Mama Jabbour still faithfully listens, Dave. That actually got me in quite a bit of trouble after our last podcast, Dave.
What did we say in our last pod?
No,
What
well, so I tell stories on these podcasts because we're just trying to share
relate?
stories
Yeah.
and perspective, right? So my mom, now I think she's in the wrong on this. She claims
Wait,
I
way to recover, Andy. Way to recover. Tell your mom she's wrong.
She claims that I never shared my West Nile virus story with her about, sitting in my hotel
Oh,
room with my brain ready to explode. I blame this on not so early onset dementia. I'm not sure about that, but I'm pretty confident that this was reported, to my mother at an appropriate time, and that she's since forgotten. So, Mama, if you're listening, I think I'm right. I think you're wrong. But I'll take my hits with a wooden stick as needed. You know what I mean?
yeah, you definitely should, and I'll probably line up next to her and give it to you. That's like, there's one thing you can't even insinuate that Mama Jabour's got dementia. She's as smart as a hawk, so she's as quick as a whip.
Quick as a
I,
whip and quick with a wooden spoon. You know what I mean? So.
quick with a whip. Okay. Well, hey, well, we can talk a little bit about parenting later because we're going to do it. Like, did you like my dad used a belt? I mean, did you get a
So
spoon?
I was the youngest of four, right? So my mom's tool of preference was the wooden spoon, but it
Okay.
eventually it broke on my brother, and
Hmm.
and then it was subsequently retired. So I didn't actually have to experience the wrath of the wooden spoon directly. So I was like, plus Dave. I mean, I was a great kid. You know what I mean?
Uh,
So I never
this is
deserved
true.
such violence.
I guess so. Guess so. All right, Andy, let's use that as a springboard into our three topics to wrap up the week. I will tell listeners though, we have decided we're going to take a break Monday. We're going to respect Labor Day, and
Yeah.
we're actually going to take the day off. So don't listen for a pod on Monday. May I don't know if we feel inspired, I may come on and give you a clip of something, but most likely we're going to take a break.
Dave, we're
So
hardworking laborers. We work hard. Both of us work long hours. We work holidays. We work. I mean, I know I'm going to be working on Monday some. So I mean, we know we put our time in. We deserve a day of break, and I'm sure our kind and generous and awesome listeners and friends will give us a reprieve. So happy Labor
yeah,
Day to America.
yeah, we do wake up real early. We love doing this pod. I enjoy it every day we do it. But we do wake up at 5:30 or earlier than that so we can start at 5:30 so we can deliver this high quality pod to you. So,
Dave,
um,
speaking of which, we wake up in the 4 o'clocks. Really, we're rambling though. Where are we going? Where are we going
okay,
on
okay,
this
yeah,
on
yeah,
this Friday?
let's
We're
go.
going nowhere right now.
Andy, NFL season kicks off on next
Hell yeah,
Thursday.
hell yeah, it does.
Many of our listeners will remember we did a top five at the end of or during the year last year. Who's
Yeah.
our top five teams? So I figured a good chance to let's start off with the preseason top five
Yes.
and see and then ultimately pick our Super Bowl winners. How's that sounding?
Dave, I like it. You can see for those watching, on online as well. You can see I'm wearing my last year's NFC Conference Championship T-shirt, and Dave, I love it. I'm ready. I'm ready for today. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this.
All right, way to grab those pecs. All right. So Andy, let's start off. We'll go one through five. We'll do alternate. So I'll start and you go. Then where are you going with yours? And then we'll go through five. Does that sound good?
Just to be clear, starting with the number one seed, going to the
Starting
fifth.
with the number, starting with number one, going down to five.
All right.
Or would you rather go 5-1? I don't know. We can
No,
do
hey,
it.
Dave, I'm the Padawan. You lead us however you want to take us. You lead us how America wants us to deliver it, Dave.
Okay, there we go. That's the way we're gonna do it. So, Andy, like you have to start number one. I don't care what your thinks of the teams is. The number one team is the Kansas City Chiefs until somebody shows us otherwise, Andy. They are the two-time defending NFL champs. They are, I think, stronger this year than they were last year, especially in the receiving core. I think they're rested. Nobody's ever in the Super Bowl era, Andy, nobody's ever done three in a row. There's been
Yeah,
3 in 4 years, but
yeah,
never three in a row.
yeah.
So I got to start until somebody shows us otherwise. Now, look, it can change after week one, but number one is Kansas City.
Yeah, Dave, I agree. I mean, I think you can't deny that, right? There's you look with preseason going into week one rankings. I think you've got to respect where things ended and what's happened in the off season, right? So even though there's reasons to suggest maybe KC isn't going to finish one, I think right now week one you got to give it back to the defending Super Bowl champions because they've done nothing to get worse, right? They're probably better. They've got a hot receiver there they picked
Yeah,
up, so they're looking as deadly as ever. Patrick's not slowing down. I don't know if Kelsey's going to be as strong as he has been. I mean, I think he
I
started
don't
slowing
think
down
so,
last
but
year, but I think they're still going to be they're the number one. You got to give it to the Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom. You guys are good fans. I'm still happy to see the Chiefs do well. And so hey, number one definitely Kansas City.
yeah, and look, let's be real. They can finish the season the seventh seed. It doesn't matter. Like once the playoffs start, it's a whole different game. They just got to get to the playoffs and they'll be good. All
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So Andy, number two, I'm gonna go with the Baltimore Ravens. And look, people forget, like the, if it weren't for their own mistakes, fumbling at the goal line, doing all these stupid mistakes, they would have beaten Kansas City and they would have been going to the Super Bowl. And I think they would have won the Super Bowl then. I know they've lost some players this year. They lost their defensive coordinator, but look, I like, Zay Flowers is going to step up again this year. Andrews is back. He had a big injury last year. They're good, and Lamar is a two-time NFL MVP. I'm going with the Ravens for number two, Andy.
Yeah, I'll come back to the Ravens in just a moment, but as I look at again where things finished, I got to put San Francisco in at number two right now. And hey, just did a big signing yesterday. Finally,
Yeah.
signing Brandon Ayuk. I mean, that was Jerry Jones and how ridiculous how long it took. But Ian Rappaport, who by the way, Ian Rappaport is awesome. The guy was recording updates the other night in the back of an Uber, sharing them. I love the way the guy shares. Ian, thanks for being awesome. But yeah, the Niners look they're still a very good team. They were top in the NFC. Detroit almost beat them, could have beat them if not for maybe a silly catch miss. But hey, the Niners, I think, have to go in the season as the number two team, the top team in the NFC to start things out, Dave, to start things out.
Okay. I can respect it, Andy. I can definitely respect it. So we have a little difference there. So let's go with our number three team. Andy, I'm going with your team as the number three team,
Talking
the
about,
Detroit Lions.
talking about.
A lot of expectations on them this year, Andy. A lot of expectations, but they got better.
Yeah.
And, I know that division is going to be a murderer's row. Every team in there is going to be tough, but I think they've got it this year, Andy. I expect them to go pretty far this year, Andy. So that's my number three team.
Well, Dave, on behalf of the Lions universe, One Pride, all Detroit Lions fans, I accept your number three ranking. I mean, I welcome it, but I didn't put the Lions that high. They'll come back to them in just a moment as well. I'll explain that. But I had to go with Baltimore number three, and the reason that Baltimore edges out Detroit going into the season is because of the absolute ass kicking they put on the Lions last year. That was, I mean, I wanted to cry in the first quarter of that game. I was so frustrated with, I mean, it was like 21-0, and
Yeah.
it was 83 seconds or something like that. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, I mean, the Ravens just absolutely smashed Detroit. And so, while I think Detroit has gotten a lot better, I think that game was a one-off. Baltimore gets the edge just because they kicked the literal shit out of Detroit on the football field that day, and so they get the number three spot.
Okay, that's fair enough. There, fair enough. All right, so number four, Andy, this is where I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers. Again, Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, they signed their big receiver. I don't think we need to say anything more. They're going to come be ready to play. They need to get over that hump. They've been to the Super Bowl twice. They haven't got it done in the fourth quarter, both of those games. I'm looking for another good year. I mean, the consistency across the board. So 49ers number four for me, Andy.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I think it's fair. For me, that's where I put my Detroit Lions, Dave. I mean, look, Brad Holmes said it yesterday. The goal is to win the Super Bowl. The Lions almost beat San Francisco. They could have gone. I'm glad they didn't. I think they would have fallen to the Chiefs last year, but they're an incredibly talented team that's only gotten better. Coaching's better. Everything's better. this is a very strong Detroit Lions team. It's a place we've never been, going into a season to like have people legitimately calling the Lions for the Super Bowl, to call them to win the division, back-to-back seasons. Detroit's a strong, strong number four, Dave.
Okay, very good. So we got there. So Andy, this is where I think the fall off begins. Like I think there's this is the top tier, and then there's a lot of really good teams, but they have so many weaknesses, I think, Andy. And so but I struggled through this with Miami, with Buffalo. Some would even say the Jets because their schedule they might be in a really good shape. You could say Seattle might be in a better position because they've got a stronger defensive minded coach this year and with a little fresh blood. But I am going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles here, Andy. And I know there's a lot of drama around the coach and Hurts and everything, but they upgraded their skill positions. And unless that coach player dynamic really undermines the team, like again, this is a team that got better. They got Saquon Barkley, they got Jahan Dotson from the Commanders for basically nothing, and they now have three deep receivers and one great running back, an option quarterback. I mean, I like what the Eagles are doing because their defense is really good too. And hey, here's the thing: they'll also invest in trade for people during the season if it's not working. So I like what they're going to do there. So
Yeah, Dave, I do too. And they improved their coaching staff, right? They lost both coordinators going into last season
yeah,
to
yeah.
make some changes, and they did. And they brought in Kellen Moore, for example, on the offensive side. You mentioned the defensive side already. They've gotten stronger. They're a good team. Dave, I'm picking Philly as my number five as well, but I'll tell you, I'm
Good.
also picking Philly to win going into the season. They'll be the number one seed in the NFC this season.
Ah, all right.
So
Okay.
um, I think Philly is going to be a much different team than the team we saw, play abysmally at the end of last season, and in the absolute non-tackling playoff game against the Bucks. So yeah, Philly's my number five as well. So pretty similar, same team, slightly
Yeah,
different
yeah.
orders, Dave. Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, so we'll see how it goes Thursday kickoff. And then we get right into it, Andy. I'm
Oh
excited for
yeah,
the season.
Thursday kickoff, baby. We're less than a week away from NFL football, Dave.
It's amazing. So, okay, Andy, we're well over time for this first
Yeah,
segment, but we got to talk about we think our Super Bowl, who the Super Bowl will be and who's going to be the winner. So,
yeah,
I'll start here, Andy. I am going to go with a rematch of last year. I think it's going to be San Francisco and Kansas City. I know that's a weak choice. I've heard some people say Houston going to go there. No, I don't think so. The Lions are going to be strong, Andy, but I just think it's going to be really tough. And at the end of the day, I just love Kyle Shanahan in that box more than anybody else in the coaching staff. So that's where I'm going for that. I feel stronger about the Niners versus the Chiefs, but that's where I'm going to go, Andy.
yeah. It's a reasonable bet. I'm gonna break it. I think Chiefs do win the AFC. I think they're just. I think no one's going to be as good as them. I like the Texans a lot. I mean, they're,
Yeah.
they're a really fun team, but I think it's going to be a harder schedule this season. Expectations are going to be higher. I just don't think they're going to be able to get quite there yet. I think they'll have their day, but not yet today. But Dave, in the NFC, Philly will win. The regular season because
Do it,
Detroit's got a
Andy.
much harder schedule.
Do,
Right?
do
Detroit's.
it.
Oh yeah, you know where I'm going here, Dave. I mean,
Do it,
absolutely.
Andy. Do it.
Detroit will beat Philadelphia in Philadelphia, not only get to their first Super Bowl, Dave, they are going to upset the Chiefs and the three-peat dreams and win their very first Super Bowl. I say that not only as a fan who wants to see that, I genuinely believe that this year's Detroit Lions team is the most talented overall and has the gift of youth to stay healthy this season. And if they can, and if they can keep Jared Goff safe and healthy, I think Detroit Lions are this year's Super Bowl winners, Dave. And I say that again, genuinely, not just as somebody that actually wants to see that. So, Lions beat Philly in Philly. Lions hoist the Lombardi in New Orleans, defeating Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I can't fucking wait.
I love it, Andy. And normally I would say you're a homer pick, but look, they're going to be good. They're going to be really good, and I wouldn't lose sight on. There's going to be bad losses through the season. For all teams are going to have some bad losses. Cowboys are probably going to have a lot of bad losses, but I like it, and so happy for you and you're cheering this year, Andy. All right, so let's wrap that up. We got a lot of ground to catch up on, and we still got a couple segments to go through
Yeah,
here. Andy,
yeah,
let's go into a little talk about food. So, Andy, last night, I'm doing great on my fitness journey.
yeah.
I am down good this week. I'm excited about it. But last night, Andy, I had a great night, and then my wife comes in. She's picking up cinnamon rolls for her workers today, and so she went to the cinnamon roll place. It's new in our area, and she knows I love cinnamon
So
rolls.
good, so
Oh,
good,
so good.
so
So
good.
she surprises me at 8 o'clock at night with
Oh,
a cinnamon roll that has a scoop of cookie dough on top of it,
oh yeah,
all
that's good.
melted, Andy. Like I was like, my diet. I was like, I look, I don't need to do anything after 8 o'clock. I need to stop on that kind of stuff. I've done good,
Yeah,
but I couldn't put it in the fridge, Andy, and wait till
no,
today. I had to eat it.
you had to.
I had to, and I just, it was good. And Andy, it didn't impact the scale on the when I read this morning, so I was good about that. So I got some ground to fix today. But man, I love cinnamon rolls. Andy, in South Carolina, the University of South Carolina, there's a place called Divine Cinnamon Roll. They have the best cinnamon rolls I've ever tasted. And so when I tasted this last night, it was a little rich. The cookie dough was a little that's a little tough, but I had to do it. I just had to do it. So with that in mind, though, Andy, you saw this week
Yeah,
that McDonald's,
yeah,
known for the Big Mac, the quarter pounder with cheese, the double quarter pounder with cheese, they came out with a new menu item this week, Andy.
yeah.
What'd you think about? Is it called the Big Arch?
It's a
Is that what
big,
we call?
the big arch, Dave. A new sandwich being introduced in Canada. They're fattening up our Canadian friends first.
Love
Dave,
it.
1,030 calories
Oh
of
my.
gluttony. Dave, two quarter pound. They emphasize Canadian beef patties, layered with three slices. I love this of white processed cheese, with crispy onions, slivered onions, pickles, lettuce, and the delicious new Big Arch sauce. Put on that toasted sesame and poppy seed bun. Dave, they're introducing this absolute monster to Canada to fatten them up for winter. It sounds like absolute hell. As one of my friends on Thread said yesterday, he was like I would try it, and I was like hell yeah, I would try it too, man. It absolutely is an artery clogger upon contact, but come on, the Big Arch, over 1,000. Dave, that's so much. That's so many calories in one sandwich. I mean, add in your fries, you've consumed all the calories for the day right there in that one not satisfying, still wanting a real food meal. But would you do it? Would you do it?
Well, wait a second. You said not satisfying. I would definitely feel satisfied with that. Andy, I would love to do this. I don't know if you remember that Simpsons episode where Homer's eating something and then having heart attacks with each chew or something. That's what I would be doing. Like I'd have a bite and I'd have to like jumpstart my heart there. But I would love to do. I love these type of challenges too, Andy. Um,
Now you've got me thinking of.
I would do it. What about you?
So I would definitely do it. I would definitely. I don't. But I think McDonald's, Burger King, all that stuff. Like it satisfies in the moment, but then you want real food again, too quickly. Like I've never had a McDonald's meal and thought, hey, I'm good. Like you want more. We eat McDonald's when we're on road trips. Like when we hit the road, my wife and I are with my kids. Like it's a pretty routine stuff. We always have the McDonald's Burger King fries debate. That's for me for another day's discussion. But yeah, we stop there and we'll grab a bite and given the Big Arch isn't being served up in America at this time, but yeah, I would try it. I would try. But then you said Jumpstart My Heart. Now you got me thinking of Motley Crue and Kickstart My Heart, which is a great song. Motley Crue released, I think last week, they did a Motley Crue cover of the Beastie Boys classic "Fight for Your Right." It was a fun little cover tune. So completely off topic, just throwing that out there for one of the '80s and '90s best rock bands, big hair, Motley Crue.
I love the big hair, Andy. So I had a little technical problems there, so we had some jumping up there. Sorry about that, everybody. But hey, Andy, got me thinking though. Like, have you done any of these like challenges? You've seen these things where like you eat a burger. Like I saw somebody who did 10 patties, Parmesan cheese fries, and like a milkshake thing, and you had to do it in 45 minutes. This is a woman who did this. She did it in 22 minutes. Like
Yeah.
I remember in Arizona, they had these things called homicidal hot wings. And I hate hot stuff in the first place. But, they give you 20 homicidal hot wings and you have to try to do it as fast as you can. If you do it, you get your picture on the wall. I did that. And like, Andy, when I smelled the hot wings, my glasses started coming down on. I had to take my glasses off through the whole thing because it was sweating so much. Have you done any of these challenges, Andy?
So Dave, I haven't done any like current food challenges. I don't jump into those. But the last one I did, and we don't have time to get into this in its full glory. But Dave, in the desert of Iraq in 2003, in like 100 and whatever 20 degrees, whatever it was, my brigade chemical NCO and I got into a who can eat one of those giant cans of pudding, right, in
Oh
an hour,
no.
and we took it on. And Dave, I crushed butterscotch pudding. I ate the whole damn thing. It was like again, I can't tell the story in its full glory in the time we have left, but let's just say I did it. I won the challenge. I ate the pudding, and Dave, like I paid the price. I paid dearly, and let's just say I was one pair of underwear less following that event. All right, that's all anybody needs to know. But I won the challenge. It was like you told you I hated that deployment. There were and I did not like it in any way. But there were a few moments where there were exceptions, and that challenge was one of them. So no,
That's
I haven't
awesome.
eaten the meat challenge, but I did win my 2003 Can You Eat a Can of Pudding in the Hot Iraqi Desert Challenge, and I won, Dave.
Nice.
I
Nice.
won.
There you go. I will say the last real challenge that I did, Andy, I had a friend of mine when I was working in Florida. I love to eat sushi, Andy, and so there was this
Oh
all
yeah,
you can eat sushi place, and
yes.
so we would go for like lunch, and I would just consume sushi. Like I would eat 40 or 50 pieces. And so we had a new person come on the team, great guy, fitness guru. Like he does a lot of these fitness things. And he's like, well, he was very competitive. So he heard that everyone was referring to me as the sushi king. So he was like, I want to become the sushi king. So he challenged me to a sushi, like all you can eat thing. I ate 81 sushi pieces, Andy.
That's insane.
It's insane, but then he ate 100, over 100, Andy.
Good night.
Now we did a rematch. I did 88 and he did like 115 and we had to stop. He didn't stop because he won. He just stopped at the end, but he would have kept going if I was going too. Let me just tell you, I was shitting rice for like 2 days. It was bad. So,
Dave,
okay.
I love sushi. Like that is an insane amount of sushi to consume. Like your body was not built for that.
Yeah, now I can only do like in the 40s again. Like I'm not trained for it, Andy, anymore. So um maybe that's why I was heavier this year. So I don't know. There is a great all you can eat sushi place here in Charlotte that we found. My daughter loves it too, my oldest daughter. Okay, Andy, let's go into this speaking of health wise, Andy. Let's talk about this new Surgeon General warning,
Yeah,
Andy. I mean, this is a little crazy. So the U.S. Surgeon General issues advisory on the mental health and well-being of parents. They highlighted the urgent need to better support parents, caregivers, and families to help our communities thrive. Let me just read a little of this, Andy, and then I just want your instant reactions here. Over the last decades, parents have been consistently more likely to report experiencing high levels of stress compared to other adults. No shit. 33% of parents reporting high levels of stress in the past month compared to 20% of other adults. When stress is severe or prolonged, it can harm the mental health of parents and caregivers, which in turn affects the well-beings of the children they raise. Children of parents with mental health conditions may face risk of symptoms of depression and anxiety, and from earlier onset recurrence and prolonged functional impairment from mental health conditions. And it goes on and on.
yeah.
I like parent, like that's what parenting is. I don't know. I'm a little, I, I, I'm a little confused by this, but thoughts on this, Andy?
Yeah, so I mean, I've split minds, right? I'm trying to be sort
Yeah.
of trying to empathize a little bit and say, okay, the Surgeon General here is saying, look, parenting is hard. Let's put resources in place to help parents, to help them be better parents, to raise healthier children. Like I get that, and I appreciate that, and putting things in place like that's all good and well. But look, talking about parents being stressed out, I mean, if you're not fucking stressed out, you're probably not doing it right, right?
Yeah.
Whoever paying uh, your staff to take care of your kids or whatever it is. But if you're a parent and you're in the trenches parenting, like hell yeah, you're trying to get to soccer practice, you're trying to get to football practice, you're trying to get to dance practice, you're trying to make dinner, you're trying to keep up with work, you're trying to make sure your kids are healthy, you're getting them to school. Like it's insane. It's insane. It doesn't stop from I mean, it just goes and goes, and summer break, whatever it is. Like the parenting requirements are intense. It's hard. Like it's hard, and like it's supposed to be hard. It's always been hard to raise kids. Like it's demanding. And listen, for those that choose not to have or can have kids, like that's fine. Like that's fine. So screw you, JD Vance. Like it's fine not to have kids. For those that do, like it's an incredible opportunity to learn and grow as an individual. Like it's an incredible challenge, and you learn so much about yourself in that process. And I want to acknowledge, like if you're a single parent, like I don't know how single parents get it done. I mean, that is an incredible challenge. Single parents deserve the respect and applause of everybody because it is so hard. It's hard. Or if you're dealing with challenges, health issues, other challenges with your children, like that adds complexity. Like yeah, that's really hard, right? But just parenting itself, just if you're fortunate enough to have two parents trying to raise kids, like it is hard. And you know what? Like suck it the hell up because that's how it's supposed to be, right? I mean, it's supposed to be hard, and you're blessed to be able to do it. So part of me is like, hey, I get it. It's good. This is but at the same time, like, come on, like, come
Yeah.
on, man, come on, man.
Look, there's community, like this is just part of life. I mean, I don't understand where we now all seem need to give extra support to parents. Like there's a lot of support things out there. Like you just have to understand, set boundaries, read an article, like understand some of the key things. But for all those things, it's stressful and but the rewards are immeasurable. Like having kids, like we both of us, you had your son recently graduate, he's about ready to embark on a new career.
Yeah,
I have two sons that have graduated, and one is getting married in 3 weeks. I mean, the rewards of that, like the pride that you have to see your children grow up and become adults, like that makes it all worth it. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be like you don't have stressed out times, and parenting is hard,
yeah,
but that's where you have to understand yourself too and say, where can I take a timeout? Where do I take a break? Where do understand those things? I don't know if we need to send out a public service announcement, and I think it's really I don't know. It's just, it's a tough look, Surgeon General. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
so
I agree. I mean, I'd love to hear if people disagree. If anybody listening thinks like, if we're out to lunch on this one, like I'd love to hear it. I mean, and maybe we're not fully appreciating it, but I agree. I mean, if you ever want to make fun for America being like too soft, like this one to me is like maybe we're getting a little bit too soft here,
yeah,
like the parenting is hard. But I mean, you said, Dave, it's such an incredible privilege and experience. And look, we're both very fortunate to have incredible wives who support us, who support our families, who do a lot of the heavy lifting. We're both pretty incompetent in a lot of respect, but it's awesome. I mean, again, it's fine not to have children. It's unfortunate somebody wants to and can have children, but if you have that opportunity, like yeah, it's hard. Like
yeah.
fucking deal with it. Like it's awesome. It's a blessing. Kids are incredible. So yeah, it's Surgeon General. Thanks. I'm not paying much attention to you this round.
All right, so let's talk about another kind of health related thing, Andy, as we got this last minute here on our clock. Andy, wheelchair rugby.
Oh hell yeah.
They call this murder ball, Andy. There's an Washington Post article you forwarded to me. Um, like this looks crazy, but like we've seen wheelchair sports very like there's a lot of activity. There's wheelchair lacrosse, there's wheelchair basketball, handball, all
Yeah,
sorts of great things. And again, but wheelchair rugby,
it's
these
insane.
these wheelchairs are not like not your typical hospital wheelchairs. These things are like built Ford tough for lack of a better word there, Andy. This wheelchair rugby, I encourage people to take a look at it. It's pretty crazy.
It's Dave, it's wild. This is being played in the Paralympics, right now, and I mean it is. These folks are warriors. I mean they are warriors. They are going at each other. As I've understood it, mixed gender, like just fully violent onslaught. Like ramming each other in these wheelchairs. It is like something out of like it's like Gladiator meets Battle Bots. And it's insane. Like these are no fear daredevils like going full speed melee mode. It's insane. Like this will probably be banned at some point, but in the meantime, it's awesome. I applaud these athletes that are getting out there and doing this. Like that is a nothing is going to hold me down type attitude. You have to be mentally and physically resilient to go out there and smash it up like they are doing. I love it. I think it is wild and awesome.
I mean, to be able to like again, these wheelchairs are like high speed vehicles
Yeah,
in so many different ways. There's a lot of banging and roughing. It looks amazing
yeah,
uh, for the first. I mean, but these things it's crazy. So yeah, applaud. I mean, one to have these type of leagues and again, you said they're in the Paralympics, but there's also a lot of leagues out there that are doing this.
yeah,
Like this is great. I mean, these are very competitive people. They've had tragic circumstances in their lives but they're making the best of that, all of that, and they're retaining that competitiveness, and I love it. I love it. I think this is great. I'm gonna have to take a look at it, see if I can see some videos on YouTube or whatnot. So,
yeah.
all right, Andy. So that wraps up a pretty good. That's a full. We went a little over today, but we're not going to be here on Monday, so maybe we should have. So
Well,
that's
we
all
gotta do
good.
it. Yeah, we gotta do it. Dave,
All
it's
right,
been
Andy.
a good week. Dave, we're done with August and we're going into
I know.
September. And we're generally going into fall. Dave, next week is week one of the NFL. I mean, let's
I
just
know.
it's like I'm so excited. So can I say thanks to everybody that not only listens but puts up with our bullshit on threads and engages and has fun with us. Like I truly appreciate it. We like all the friends and colleagues we've made here, and it's as we get ready to wrap up year one, Dave. It's been a pleasure to do this with you. So I'm glad we can do it. I'm excited to head into the month of September. Everybody enjoy their Labor Day. Like this is awesome. This is awesome.
Yeah, it really is, Andy. And again, our listeners are growing, so you are finding us. So that's awesome, I'm glad you guys get to listen to us talk about a lot of crazy stuff 3 days a week. It will be a little crazy next week, Andy. I'm traveling around a bunch next week, but I'm excited aboard. I don't travel a whole lot for work anymore, but I'll be in the Big Apple next week for a couple days. So.
America needs you.
uh,
America needs you to get out there.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I'll probably share some travel experiences on our discussion on Wednesday, Andy. So, all right, Andy, enjoy Monday off. But as everyone else, enjoy your long weekend as well. Hope you have a good one. I'm going apple picking, so I'll make sure we talk about that too. So,
All right.
Andy, with that, I'll catch up with you next time.